Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
For there is great danger in hastily throwing out what is undigested. Therefore, do you not make an exhibition before the ignorant of your principles, but of the actions to which their digestion gives rise. Please continue watching for the practical wisdom of Stoic philosopher Epictetus.
Yasu, charismatic viewers. Yasu means hello in Greek. I'm Theo. The serene Greek people send you positive thoughts and loving spirit in the divine's blessings. Welcome to Stoic Philosophy is Applied in Humility. Excerpts from Epictetus Enchiridion, Part 2 of 2 on Words of Wisdom. Epictetus was a Greek Stoic philosopher who lived in the 1st and 2nd centuries CE. He was born in Phrygia, present-day Turkey, and during his youth was a slave in Rome to an important administrator in the court of the emperor. At an early age, Epictetus developed a significant interest in philosophy. With his owner's permission, he studied under Gaius Musonius Rufus, who, along with Epictetus, is now considered one of the great Stoic philosophers of the Roman Empire. After acquiring his freedom in 68 CE, young Epictetus became a teacher of philosophy in Rome, later continuing his practice in northwestern Greece by founding a philosophical school there. Epictetus, who led a simple lifestyle with very few possessions, taught a practical philosophy to help people lead meaningful lives. He emphasized integrity, personal freedom, and self-mastery through the use of reason and virtue, which is required to live in accordance with nature. The detailed steps and techniques in this regard presented in his teachings illustrate Stoicism as a way of life. One of Epictetus' most dedicated students was Arrian, who compiled and published his own personal notes from his teacher's lectures into the well-known books Discourses and Enchiridion. Epictetus' teachings have had an immense influence throughout the centuries, including on the great philosopher and Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, on early Christian moral thought, on current approaches in psychology, and more, and continues to have an impact on many intellectuals, thinkers, and philosophers around the world. The beloved Stoic philosopher and teacher was remembered as a lively speaker who was able to make his listeners feel his own insights. We will now continue with excerpts from Epictetus Enchiridion, where the Stoic philosopher guides us through life's situations with practical wisdom and care for one's righteousness and inner clarity. The Enchiridion. Begin by prescribing to yourself some character and demeanor, such as you may preserve both alone and in company. Be mostly silent, or speak merely what is needful and in few words. We may, however, enter sparingly into discourse sometimes when occasion calls for it, but let it not run on any of the common subjects as gladiators or horse races or athletic champions or food or drink, the vulgar topics of conversation, and especially not on men, so as either to blame or praise or make comparisons. If you are able, then, by your own conversation, bring over that of your company to proper subjects. But if you happen to find yourself among strangers, be silent. Let not your laughter be loud, frequent, or abundant. Avoid taking oaths, if possible, altogether, at any rate, so far as you are able. Avoid public and vulgar entertainments, but if ever an occasion calls you to them, Keep your attention upon the stretch, that you may not imperceptibly slide into vulgarity. For be assured that if a person be ever so pure himself, yet if his companion be corrupted, he who converses with him will be corrupted likewise. Provide things relating to the body no further than absolute need requires, as food, drink, clothing, house, retinue, but cut off everything that looks toward show and luxury. Before marriage, guard yourself with all your ability from unlawful intercourse with women. Yet be not uncharitable or severe to those who are led into this, nor boast frequently that you yourself do otherwise. If anyone tells you that a certain person speaks ill of you, do not make excuses about what is said of you, but answer, he was ignorant of my other faults, else he would not have mentioned these alone. When you are going to confer with anyone, and especially with one who seems your superior, represent to yourself how Socrates or Zeno would behave in such a case, and you will not be at a loss to meet properly whatever may occur. When you are going before anyone in power, fancy to yourself that you may not find him at home, that you may be shut out, that the doors may not be opened to you, that he may not notice you. If, with all this, it be your duty to go, bear what happens and never say to yourself, it was not worth so much. For this is vulgar, and like a man bewildered by externals. In company, avoid a frequent and excessive mention of your own actions and dangers, for however agreeable it may be to yourself to allude to the risks you have run, it is not equally agreeable to others to hear your adventures. Avoid likewise an endeavor to excite laughter, for this may readily slide you into vulgarity, and, besides, may be apt to lower you in the esteem of your acquaintance. Approaches to indecent discourse are likewise dangerous. Therefore, when anything of this sort happens, use the first fit opportunity to rebuke him who makes advances that way, or, at least, by silence and blushing and a serious look, show yourself to be displeased by such talk. If you are dazzled by the semblance of any promised pleasure, guard yourself against being bewildered by it, but let the affair wait your leisure, and procure yourself some delay. Then bring to your mind both points of time, that in which you shall enjoy the pleasure, and that in which you will repent and reproach yourself after you have enjoyed it, and set before you, in opposition to these, how you will rejoice and applaud yourself if you abstain. And even though it should appear to you a seasonable gratification, take heed that its enticements and allurements and seductions may not subdue you, but set in opposition to this how much better it is to be conscious of having gained so great a victory. When you do anything from a clear judgment that it ought to be done, never shrink from being seen to do it, even though the world should misunderstand it. For if you are not acting rightly, shun the action itself. If you are, why fear those who wrongly censure you? Never proclaim yourself a philosopher, nor make much talk among the ignorant about your principles, but show them by actions. Thus, at an entertainment, do not discourse how people ought to eat, but eat as you ought. For remember, thus Socrates also universally avoided all ostentation. And when persons came to him and desired to be introduced by him to philosophers, he took them and introduced them. So well did he bear being overlooked. So, if ever there should be among the ignorant any discussion of principles, be for the most part silent. For there is great danger in hastily throwing out what is undigested. And if anyone tells you that you know nothing, and you are not nettled at it, then you may be sure that you have really entered on your work. For sheep do not hastily throw up the grass to show the shepherds how much they have eaten, but inwardly digesting their food. Thus, therefore, do you not make an exhibition before the ignorant of your principles, but of the actions to which their digestion gives rise. When you have learned to nourish your body frugally, do not pique yourself upon it, Nor, if you drink water, be saying upon every occasion, I drink water, but first consider how much more frugal are the poor than we, and how much more patient of hardship. If at any time you would inure yourself by exercise to labor and privation for your own sake and not for the public, do not attempt great feats. But when you are violently thirsty, just rinse your mouth with water and tell nobody. The condition and characteristic of a vulgar person is that he never looks for either help or harm from himself, but only from externals. The condition and characteristic of a philosopher is that he looks to himself for all help or harm. The marks of a proficient are that he censures no one, praises no one, blames no one, accuses no one, says nothing concerning himself as being anybody or knowing anything. When he is in any instance hindered or restrained, he accuses himself, and if he is praised, he smiles to himself at the person who praises him. And if he is censured, he makes no defense, but he goes about with the caution of a convalescent, careful of interference with anything that is doing well but not yet quite secure. He restrains desire. He transfers his aversion to those things only which thwart the proper use of our own will. He employs his energies moderately in all directions. If he appears stupid or ignorant, he does not care. And, in a word, he keeps watch over himself as over an enemy and one in ambush. Radiant viewers, we thank you for your kind presence for today's program entitled Stoic Philosophy is Applied in Humility, excerpts from Epictetus Enchiridion, Part 2 of 2 on Words of Wisdom. Coming up next is Spinning the Light of Art, 2019 International Artists' Day celebration in Taiwan, Formosa, Part 3 of 10, right after noteworthy news. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television for more uplifting programming. May eternal peace and glory be granted to you and yours in God's benevolence.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/WOW.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule et suprememastertv.com/WOW.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule i suprememastertv.com/WOW.
Nasze programy oferują wiele języków. Prosimy zobaczyć suprememastertv.com/schedule oraz suprememastertv.com/WOW.